Nights in the Dreams was a game designed by Sonic Team for the Sega Saturn, back when they were allowed to work on things that were not blue, pointy, began with S and ended with Onic. It is a fast-paced score attack game based in the dream world where you play as knights, a funky little jester thing that flies through 4 courses in each level, trying to get this thing called an idiot in each course. Knights, as a character, was designed to be a dream traveller because Sonic Team wanted to make a character that you could quote-unquote meet. The logic behind this is, as Knight is a dream traveller, if you were to go to sleep, and at some point in your dream Knight was to appear, technically, you would be meeting the same character from the game. The fact that they were designed to be androgynous also helps this, as Knights is supposed to take on the perceived gender of whatever dreamer they are inhabiting. But what is an idiot? Why is there ground in the sky? I'll answer all these a bit later. The story starts off with this dude here called Wise Man. He created a place called Nightmare and wants to destroy an utopia, also he can steal something called Idiot. To do this, he makes 2 jesters, Knights and Riala, and while Riala did what he was asked, Knights did not. They wanted to do their own thing, and started to rebel, which caused Wise Man to lock them in the timeout corner. Meanwhile, in the real world, 2 kids called Elliot and Clarence are having a bit of a rough day. Elliot just got beaten in the game of basketball, which made him feel embarrassed and contemplate his life choices. While Clarice is having crippling anxiety trying to audition for this citywide event. It turns out Clarice comes from a family of artists, so she wants to prove that she has her family's artistic talent. I did not say both issues were equal. When they both go to sleep, they both start to have nightmares about what happened before doing what I wish I could do and run into the light. Which, after that, they are immediately ganged up on and beaten while the idiot is stolen and taken to idiot jail. And thus, the gameplay loop of Knights begins. Knights as a game is all about that score. The higher the number, the better the rank. In fact, to even play the final level, Twinseeds, you need to get at least a C rank on all the levels before it. You first start off as an itsy bitsy child, and will have to walk to Knight, who is all the way over there. Once you reach Knight, touch them, and then you'll be able to play as them, which then you'll fly around in a 2.5D space, following a set path to the idiot and getting as many points as possible. In order to break the idiot out of its container, however, you need balls. Blue balls to be exact, 20 of them. After you are relieved of your blue balls and free the idiot out of its container, you then enter bonus time. During bonus time, there is a score multiplier active and the blue balls turn into piss balls. This is where you focus on getting as many points as possible, as well as reaching the prison again within the time limit. If you don't get back there in time, you will turn back into an itsy bitsy child, and will have to avoid the floating clock that threatens to wake you up, but not in a nice way. As Knights, you can attack in 2 ways. You can charge things, which eat up this meter here, and you can paraloop, which is where you do a loop-de-loop and anything caught in is sent straight to the bin. After doing 4 courses, you'll then be whisked away to a boss fight which can range from pathetically easy to what the fuck am I supposed to do? The quicker you beat the boss, the higher the score multiplier is, which can help if you had a few bad runs in the courses before. Repeat this 4 more times for both characters and you would have beaten the game. It's not long, in fact it takes you less than 2 hours to get from beginning to end. I actually streamed this game with my nightmarian friend Ember recently on my YouTube.
What would you do if you met Knights in real life?
Fucking scream.
I still love the idea of Yuji Naka flying out of prison doing the somersaults and stuff. They're like, stop him!
It goes for the entirety of City Escape. Why is the cleavage so fucking big? Ow. Despite this, even after seeing the end credits, you're not done with the game. You're supposed to come back to levels time and time again to try and perfect that run, get a higher score, or maybe actually clear 1 level without turning back into an itsy bitsy child. My god, I hate this level. There are 4 levels per character. Technically 3, since they both share the same final level, Twinseeds, and they're all fairly easy to go through. -1, that is the spawn of Satan, and I hate with all of my being. The design of these levels vary greatly, however they all tend to follow the same kind of design philosophies. They all have floor in the ceiling, for example, since this is a dreamscape and they really want to hammer that point home. They also have things like bus stops or benches lying around level design to try and give the environment a lived-in feel. Not too dissimilar from those liminal spaces that you can find online. This is all topped off with an absolutely fantastic soundtrack, and it's probably one of my favourite soundtracks for the Sega Saturn. The music can vary between joyful and downright menacing, and my favourite of the soundtrack has to be the one when you're fighting against Riala. For Claris, you start off in Spring Valley, a simple level where you go through green hills and is overall a very chill experience. This is the level that they usually use whenever there's a Knights callback, so you probably know this from the Knights pinball table from Sonic Adventure or the Knights minigame in the PS2 iToy collection. After that, then there's Mystic Forest, which is a bit harder, and it has a neat top-down section where you can guide this car to a garage for an achievement if you're playing the re-release on PC or Xbox. After that, you then have Soft Museum, where the game devs shove their Knights inflation fetish in your face, oh my god, get it away from me, and you get fired out of a cannon for some reason. Jumping over to Elliot's side, we have Splash Garden. Not as memorable of a first level as Spring Valley, but it's still an overall good vibe. After that, there's a Frozen Bell, a cool romp through a snowy landscape where Knights can also turn into pure nightmare fuel. Then last and certainly least, we have Stick Canyon. Which is funny, because I can think of one place where the level design can stick it, because every time I play this, I always run out of time at the final rail bit and turn into a goddamn itsy bitsy child. Each level is also capped off with a boss fight. For Claris, we have Gullwing. He can be beaten by smacking that big, round, bulbous chin. You can also one-shot them with a loop-de-loop, but that's hard to do and I'm bad at games. Then there's Gulpo, a fish you have to attack by using these other fish to launch you at them. Then we have Jackal. He's a twat. In order to beat him, you need to keep him away from their cape. You gotta keep dashing into them to damage them, but I keep messing it up. The time I stream this, I just about beat him with 4 seconds to spare. Ah, that's annoying. Go, 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 go.
No.
No. Come here, you. Okay, did I get him? I got him. Oh.
How much is Kingdom Hearts still gonna be?
Over on Elliot's side, you have Puffy, a big round ball you have to keep pushing back until the level design itself decides it's had enough of her. Afterwards, there's Claws, a cat that attacks with the power of rats. You just need to attack the rats when they start to flame, and then go in for the kill once Claws has nowhere left to go. Lastly, there's Riala. How will this epic rivalry end? Two sides of the same coin, the Shadow to Knight Sonic. It's a very simple free power loop and it's done boss fight. Very underwhelming. After you've bonked all bosses in the head and got a C rank or above, the final level will open up to you, where you can take the fight to Big Man Wiseman. The climax of the game is based in a level that is designed around the very city both kids live in. Wiseman is probably using the kids' own memories against them to create his domain. When you first spawn in, you see knights surrounded by some sort of bubble. But when you walk up to them, you get thrown across the map, so no knights playtime for you. Well, now what? Standing around here won't help, so you might as well just fall down and try again. This bit right here is why I love this game so much. The dark, foreboding atmosphere is beaten back by the sheer determination of the player character. No longer needing the power of knights to fly, they can do it themselves using their own sheer force of will. They are in control of their own emotions. They have the power to overcome whatever thing was giving them anxiety before. They themselves are enough. Without context or background knowledge, this whole segment of the game looks a bit weird. There are no words spoken at all in the game unless you count. So plot-wise, it does kinda seem to come out of nowhere. But if you watch the opening for both characters and read their plot bio in the instruction booklet, you will see that we've been playing with kids who have been suffering from anxiety. who have this big foreboding fear looming over them. That very same fear is what the nightmares have been taken advantage of to try and steal their idia, to break their willpower down, but through the power of nights, they've been able to get the courage to go out on their own and fight back. And that is a great finale for a game like this. Twinseeds as a level is pretty straightforward. They can be pretty stingy with the blue balls here, so some routes you need to make sure you get every single one of them in one run. Once you get all 4 idias, you then fly over to Knights, and with the help of the other character that you did not pick, you break them out of their little naughty corner prison, and you go off to confront wise men themselves. The fight here is pretty straightforward. He has 4 phases: fireballs, rock balls, ice balls, and wind balls. Get through all of these and slap him 4 times, and that's really it. He is beaten. And Knights looks at you for a job well done. Elliot and Clarice both wake up, and with a renewed resolve, go outside to face the issue that was giving them problems before. Elliot goes, and with the power of jumping really high, wins the rematch, while Clarice goes to the audition and is finally able to face the music, and is able to show the judges just how good her Lala skills are. Once you've reached the end with both characters, you're then shown the finale. Elliot's walking through town with his friends when he hallucinates Knights in a poster, and rather than going to A&E for possible head trauma, he goes to the event and sees Clarice singing. Instead of paying for a ticket like a reasonable person, he runs down the aisle and just stares at her while she sings, and then they both just group hallucinate the dream world they were just in. And yeah, roll credits. That's the story of Knights. I'm of course paraphrasing a lot, as most of the extra content that I use for plot breakdown is taken from outside sources like the booklet the game came with, or websites like the Knights Wiki. Overall, it's no surprise that I love this game. It's a cornerstone of my childhood, and it's one of the reasons why I love this era of Sega. They put so much attention to detail into seemingly pointless things, like the A-Life system. In each level, you have these flying angels around, which Ember described as flesh-coloured chow, and now I can't unsee that. And they go off and do their own things while you're off playing the level. There's a whole breeding system where you throw enemies at them and they lay an egg, and the resulting creature will have characteristics of that enemy and the angel. There's a really convoluted system where the end goal is to get something called a King Knightopian, which will make a castle in the level which will stay there long after they are gone. If this sounds familiar, well, that's because this system will then eventually become the Chow Garden, which is used as Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and is something that the Sonic fans are asking Sega to bring back even to this day. And then you have the missing / unfinished content side of things. There's a whole community out there that are trying to figure out what is going on with this removed boss called Self. There's a good video from this person called DigiValentine about this, and it's really interesting if you like looking into cut content. There's so much to this game than just a simple A to B score attack. It has this charm that only the old Sonic team had, and is a game that really can't be compared to anything because there's just nothing quite like it. Not even the sequel on the Wii has the same kind of charm that this one has. I do understand that the game's not for everybody. I am speaking from a very biased background here. Despite that, I do implore you to at least try it out. It's out on Steam for just £5.99 and runs really well on pretty much any modern setup. And you can also play this on Xbox thanks to their backwards compatibility system. It's a bit more expensive at £6.75, but if you have an Xbox One lying around or a Series console, I do recommend checking it out on there. Anyway, that's enough from me. I hope you enjoyed this look into one of Sonic Team's most misunderstood games, and who knows, when you go to sleep, you might find yourself meeting a certain purple jester.